Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're checking out the War Machine 3099 uniform. Does this bad boy, announced almost 3 weeks ago, live up to the hype of the skill preview? Just to remind you guys in skill preview, before I start, rattling on at a machine gun pace about his different skills and effects and all that sort of stuff, the really cool thing about this top to bottom rework, on top of the passive buffs, on top of all that, is the skill animations and the skill canceling. You have this amazingly cool 3 cancel 5 cancel 4 combo, which lends itself to not only one of the most savage displays of artillery superiority, you've got this crazy beam that he summons that you can cancel at any time, and the beam just stays there. The beam just chills there. You have this really cool sort of lightning trap that also creates this bubble around him, and it also lends to the accumulation, which we'll talk about later. And then we have the 4th skill where he equips this gigantic sort of mech, I don't know what you want to call it, transformer Gundam thing, and you can fly around the arena and blast your enemies. So I mean, listen, even if this uniform doesn't live up to the hype as far as being, one of the best 800cc F tier 3s, this is one of the coolest looking skills, and I love VPAD skills. I actually love them so much. Being able to control where your character goes just gives you a sense of realistic fighting that you don't get with other games, period, but you don't get with certain characters in Marvel Future Fight. And then we have his absolutely disgusting new tier 3. And man, I gotta say, there is pixelation on YouTube. It's an unfortunate product of the way that things get compressed in order for you to watch it at whatever resolution you want to watch it at. But on my screen right now, it looks so gorgeous at high resolution. And if you put on the SFX, I'm pretty sure it gets even cooler. You can even see his eyes glowing in the icon. I know we actually haven't gotten to the legit gameplay yet, but you can see his eyes glowing. And man, this looks so dope. This looks so dope. And I actually wonder privately, well, not privately anymore, but I wonder out loud if he'll have more hits with SFX on. That's something I should test. But anywho, let's get a quick pulse. If for whatever reason you wanted to get this uniform and you didn't want a tier 3 War Machine, because unlike other characters, there is more of a reason, there's more of an incentive to purchase this uniform, even if you're not going to tier 3 the character. There are very few characters in the game to which this applies. Some of them, for example, Colossus, just you can't take him to tier 3, right? But in the case of someone like Ebony Maw, or in the case of someone like Taskmaster, there are definitely arguments to be made. There's definitely logic to buying those uniforms without tier 3ing the character. And we do not say that about a lot of other characters in the game, a lot of other uniforms, because it's just not worth it, right? Why are you going to invest in the latest Sharon Rogers uniform? Why are you going to invest in the latest Luna Snow uniform, or in the latest, Captain America Falcon, Black Widow uniform? There's so many uniforms. Why invest in them if you're not going to take the character to tier 3? That is where they're going to reach their full potential. But on top of having the 30% increased physical attack leadership, which is strong, he's also a very easy character to farm, and this effect is active at tier 2, which is a crazy buff. It basically means he's operating with a self-buffing leadership of 70% attack and 40% all defense and 30% HP, which is mental. And then you combine that with the fact that new players are automatically given basically a tier 2 Iron Man, and you have this perfect duo. So yeah, you know what? Newer players might want to consider investing in War Machine even at tier 2. Look at those base stats without even building his gears up, and with like no fancy Uru, no fancy ISO set, and no obelisk at all with a mythic uniform. We've got 35,000 physical attack, which is more than some characters have at tier 3, and 53,000 HP. Like, take for example, I don't mean to belabor the point too much, but Deadpool's only at 40,000 at tier 3. Only at 40,000 at tier 3. He's only 5k ahead. And for other speed types, it could actually end up being worse. He's actually at 41. This poor dude's at 42, but you can sort of get what I'm saying, and you can sort of see where this is going. So anyways, let's see where this is going. We're going to jump in and do a couple of tests here. I haven't run my world bosses for the day, so I have to be a little bit careful, but we're going to go into stage 99. I actually tested him out here originally. Let me just remind you, refresh your memory. 3 weeks ago, we tested this out, and it took 45 seconds, just under 45 seconds, to get to the 11 bar mark with no obelisk. So this is the classic, well, the new classic that I love where you know raw damage output. So let's see his raw damage output. I believe he keeps the leadership tag. I don't know if we used the Nick Fury buff. I don't really care. And we're gonna see how much damage this does here. All right, looking good. We're gonna pop this, pop this, pop this. Oh, that was a lot of damage because we got more accumulation that time. And there you go. So that was actually slower than it should have been. If you notice, the second rotation had a lot more damage than the first because I got accumulation, and the accumulation is so strong for War Machine. It's almost as good as Sharon Rogers. Sharon Rogers has a 15% accumulation, a 15% attack boost per 1% of damage that she takes. So that scales up from 15% to 225. War Machine has an 11% accumulation buff. So that scales up from 11% if you take exactly 1% of damage to 165% if you take the full percentage, the full 15% worth of damage. On stage 99, it's a lot easier to take the full 15%, so I'm not sure if that was a full accumulation or not, but it doesn't matter because it's obviously insanely faster. So there's no doubt in my mind. Obviously, I made the case for the passives. I made the case for, you know, how much better his base stats are now. But you can see this is a third of the time, right? It took 15 seconds, a little bit more than 15 seconds versus 45 seconds. That is a crazy difference. Not to mention the fact that, look, he's got 60,000 on the old 60,000 HP on the old clear. Whereas now he's got 72,000, so that's 12,000 more HP thanks to that Technokinetic buff on his passive. And he didn't lose any HP in this run because he's super tanky now, because he has invincibility, he has immunity, whatever. On the old one, this dude was on life support. He was already calling Tony. He was like, help, Tony. Vision broke my legs again. All right, sorry. Didn't want to bring that one up. I know War Machine fans, Teddy out there is going to be a little bit soft, a little bit bruised about that one, but yeah, he's obviously way better now. I'm actually gonna just double check here. Does he have a heal? He has a buff there. Yes, he has a heal. On top of everything else, he's also got a heal. Actually, you know what? I miscalculated. I kept saying 11% all attack for each 1% of damage taken. I believe that's Dr. Doom's accumulation buff. I think I misspoke there. Yeah. No, his is 15. Anyways, War Machine's accumulation buff is actually even better than I said. I said it was 13% per 1%. That tops out at 165. No, it's 13% per 1%, which tops out at 195%. So very close. Just 30% difference between Sharon Rogers' 225 and his 195 accumulation. So anyways, I'm very happy with his buff. I think it's going to be very good. I think he's going to be very fun to play. I have... Okay, true. Okay, true. I was going to say I have no problems. I have no qualms with the resource cost to get him to tier 3. But then I rolled that 25-24 and I was like, ugh, 50 rolls on 2 gears? Hello? I'm getting robbed. But then we rolled a 9. You know what? Honestly, if you know, judging by the math, I would rather roll high numbers early and low numbers late than low numbers early and high numbers late. Call me crazy, but I mean, it might actually end up being close to the same amount because you're not going up by that much. You're going up from 3 to what? 7? Well, that's actually more than double, so... Well, let's see here. 5 is really good and 23 is really bad. Well, there you go. There you go. It is good and it isn't good, but we've got a lot of tier 3 materials. For those of you wondering how I've maintained so much tier 3 materials, I actually have not been swiping the credit card lately. I have been farming the story mode fragments like crazy. And if you've been on the streams, you've seen I've pulled so much Essence of Dimension and so much Titan component packs lately. It's bonkers. Also, keep in mind, I think I had 2 of his gears at 22, but that was actually very cheap. I'm gonna have to go back and check the replay to see just how much that cost me. And I can't check with any of these characters because they're all maxed out on their gears, but I think that one was a little cheap. Maybe that cost me 1,200. I'm not sure. We'll have to go check. But anywho, time to do the best part. The tier 3 advancement. This dude gains, well, we'll check out. End of War. We'll check out what the build gains are on this bad boy. Let's hit it up and let's see what happens. So cool. I was gonna say super cool, but then I started to hold the S and then it was so cool. So he gains, I wasn't quick enough to see that here. He gains 13,000, just under 14,000 HP, and he gains 14,000 physical attack. You know what I've said in the past. Characters that gain more than 10,000 physical attack or energy attack, like whatever their main stat is, there's good news to be had there. So we'll have to wait and see. War and Peace. We got our War Machine tier 3. We're back on top, having every single character that's available for tier 3 at tier 3. We had that one gap there with him for a little bit, but now we have filled the gap. Now let's go back and see. We're not going to test against Proxima because I think we're going to kill her, and that's not the goal we're looking for. So we're going to give him the standard, the classic test at stage 9. Is he ready? Now keep in mind, he does give himself 30% physical attack, so he does have a better, more advantageous start than other characters do. With this, he also has 30% ignore dodge on ready for the mission, but he has no other forms of ignore dodge, not even on his tier 3. So you're just working with the 30%. Let me just double check this since I made a mistake on the Loki video. It's just 30%, and that's it. Yeah, he's got, wow, he's got guaranteed crit rate and crit damage. That's bonkers. So what are his stats looking like right now? I'm actually not capped on dodge, which is a mistake, but I am seriously overcapped on everything, which is crazy. Look at all that red. But I believe this is crit rate, so yeah, we actually can't fix this at the moment. We will have to hold this off for another time, but he is going to need these strikers, absolutely. So with those 3 strikers, we're just going to keep it rolling. He's now got 90% ignore dodge. This should give us a very accurate representation of what he can do. However, I'm thinking about it. We want to accumulate at the beginning. So I'm going to play a little bit cheeky here. We're going to go for the Sharon Rogers play. I'm just going to do 3. I'm going to get knocked back. I'm going to sit in this to get accumulation, and then we're going to rock out. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're going to accumulate here, and then we're going to pop 5, and then we're going to pop 4. You know what? Let's just pop tier 3 too. Again, I'm not sure if this is going to be a viable strategy with an obelisk. It may not, right? Which is sort of the fear of certain characters with accumulation damage taken. Sharon Rogers is an outlier for that reason specifically. Okay, we didn't really get much to accumulate there. Can I accumulate there? No, it's an iframe. Yeah, see, that's the thing. His you have to accumulate on the 3 or on the 5 because the 4 is an iframe. The tier 3 doesn't seem to have that much damage going for it. I canceled the 4 because I wanted to cancel into the co-op skill to dodge the cage. Okay, the damage here, it doesn't seem to be too exciting. Let's just pile everything on. He doesn't have, I believe he doesn't have chain hit with his base kit. So that could definitely be what's going to make him look a little bit rustier. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Oh, that's a lot of damage. So you know what? Okay. Yeah, I think I know what I have to do. I think I understand my mission. You got 5 seconds left on this accumulation. Okay, so we should be done here. It's a little bit slow. A minute and a half. Considering all the buffs, a minute and a half is slow. But we've had this issue. Remember Dr. Doom, how long Dr. Doom took without an obelisk? We've had this issue before where characters that accumulate based on damage taken don't necessarily shine as well until you can figure out their optimal rotation. So we've had these characters recently, Dr. Doom obviously being a perfect example. So it may just take time for us to understand really what goes into these characters. Okay, so that was a lot worse. That was considerably worse. So I'm trying to accumulate on 5 and 3. And then delay everything. Let's see how much damage this does. Also, we can see now if his tier 3... See, that damage looks really good. We can see if his tier 3... no, we can't. If he can dodge the cage. He can dodge the cage with the co-op skill, which is nice. But yeah, this being an iframe, I think actually hurts him more than helps him. But I believe we have good accumulation here. Yeah, it's really going to judge off the first couple bars of that skill's damage. Yeah, if his 4th skill wasn't an iframe, it would be so much easier to accumulate. Obviously, some attacks are going to penetrate your iframe, so you can still take damage sometimes from those, but otherwise you can't. So this actually seems slower. I don't think going for the tier 3 is the play, because the 4th skill seems to do good damage as well. Actually, the 4th skill doesn't seem to do very good damage. This is actually slower. So yeah, you see, you sort of get in your head about these characters when you're just trying to get the accumulation. You're like, oh, I'm playing for this, I'm playing for that, rather than just going through your rotation. Sometimes, right, you just have a luckier run than others. The boss squeezes in some hits here and there, and you can have a lightning fast run just sticking to your rotation, right? So there needs to be a sort of sweet spot where you practice with a character and you see, okay, you know, without any care for the accumulation, if I'm just playing my normal rotation, 3 cancel 5 into 4, this is what I can expect. I can expect him to take about 90 seconds. Sometimes he gets hit here and there. It's going to accelerate that. Maybe he can clear it in a minute. A minute would be very, very good without an obelisk, especially considering the fact that he has call to arms and resistant armor. A minute and a half right now doesn't seem very good. Like I said, I'm going to have to practice him more, but as far as how good his skills look and how much better he is now, it's a clear home run. This character is so much better than he was, whether he's tier 2 or tier 3. You guys remember that 15 seconds versus 43 sec versus 44 second clear? Like, it's just night and day for him at tier 2. Again, just raw damage. So when you throw an obelisk on top of that, even if you can't necessarily proc every time perfectly, you're going to crush it, because his old rotation wasn't very good for a proc obelisk anyways. I know some of you guys had, for example, like a CTP of Destruction on him, which is just a crit damage proc obelisk. You're probably going to see similar gains, just with the added speed of having the obelisk to proc on here and there to do even more burst damage. Like 3 cancel 5 is a decent burst damage, or 3 cancel 5 cancel 4 is a decent burst damage for a proc. You may be able to pull that off. The only challenge is that you have to deal with a 20-second cooldown. He is proc friendly in a sense. I'm not sure if I gave you guys the impression that he's not proc friendly. The only thing is that you do this 3 cancel 5 cancel 4. This surely works, right? This definitely works for lots of hits. The only challenge is you have to wait, right? With a 10-second cooldown and a 7-second cooldown on a proc, whether it's a CTP of energy or whatever, you are going to have to run around for a few seconds. Maybe when you run around for a few seconds, you can get some more accumulation, because the accumulation does last for 10 seconds. It's definitely going to be tight. Another alternative rotation that you could do, and again, maybe this is going to yield more fruit, is just doing 5 cancel 4 and proccing, and then what you do is once 4 is done and you let 4 run its course, then you would do 3, and then you would run around waiting for 4 to come back, as long as 3 doesn't proc your obelisk. These are all ideas and sort of theory crafting that I have. I haven't gone and tested this. You would need to equip an obelisk to test this, but I'm just giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on this character and my first impressions. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a little bit better than good. It's just going to take some time to figure out what the best rotation is for him and the best utilization, like Dr. Doom, of that accumulation on damage taken, right? Sharon Rogers is such an easy character now. If you compare War Machine to Sharon Rogers, you'll see the design difference between a character that's super easy to proc on with very few iframes, and that's the point, and lots of delay, versus characters that have lots of hits and lots of flash, but don't necessarily have the delay to make that accumulation really work for them. So hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back with more War Machine crushing action. Take care.